So like any science, particle physics is a continual struggle between theory and experiment. We theorists come up with ideas which are more or less speculative, and then the experimentalists try to shoot them down. So our current situation is that we have this standard model which describes all the experiments that have been done with the previous accelerators perfectly well. However, we're pretty sure that it's incomplete. For one thing, there has to be some mechanism, even within the standard model, for giving masses to the different particles. That's the famous Higgs boson. Then, beyond the standard model, the astronomers and the astrophysicists tell us that the universe is full of matter, of stuff, cold dark matter, that's never been seen. Presumably not the same sort of particles that make up the standard model. So, within the standard model and beyond the standard model, we theorists think there must be something new to be discovered at the LHC. So, right from the beginning of the LHC program, we've been discussing these ideas with our theoretical colleagues. We've been asking them to look for these things, Higgs bosons, supersymmetric particles, or something else that might make up the dark matter, and so on. And we've actually been talking to them a lot about these ideas, about how to test them, how to optimize the detectors so that they have the best chance of, for example, finding the Higgs boson. The Higgs boson is actually quite a difficult thing to find. It gives masses to particles. That means that its couplings to everything else is proportional to how heavy they are. Now, the things that are inside the protons, the quarks, the gluons, they're actually very light by particle standards. In fact, the gluon doesn't have any mass at all. So the things inside the proton, when they collide, are things that don't like to couple to the Higgs boson. So we theorists have had to work very hard to come up with clever ways of producing the Higgs boson, and then clever ways of detecting it. And of course, this is a continual dialogue with our experimental friends. Now, as far as the dark matter is concerned, that's a different challenge. It's a little bit like the Sherlock Holmes story, where the most important clue was the dog that did not bark. Because the point about dark matter is that you can't see it. So how do you detect it if you can't see it? So what the answer is that you look for all the other stuff that's going on in the event, and you look for some part of the detector where you should be able to see visible particles, but where there's nothing apparently coming out. So we've been discussing with our experimental friends how exactly this dark matter should appear, what other processes might give you these funny events with nothing happening. So, well, I gave my first talk about LHC physics back in 1984, and I'm still working with my LHC experimental colleagues to try to figure out ways of proving wrong some of our crazy theoretical ideas. I think on the first day, we, along with all the other physicists in the world, would be delighted if they actually get the beam to go all around the machine without any hitches. Commissioning an accelerator, getting it to work, is a complicated process. It's even more complicated than a camel standing up. Right? It goes in several different steps. First of all, you have to get the beam going in round one way. Then you have to get it going round the other way. You have to get them both going around at the same time. Then you have to get them to collide, and then you accelerate them to top energy, and then you try again to keep those collisions happening. So each of these processes takes a bit of time. Some of them might only take a few hours. The other day, when we put particles into the LHC for the first time, just to go a short way around, it worked perfectly first shot, but that's not necessarily what's going to be happening today. Some of these steps may take quite a long time, and to get to collisions at the top energy will surely take weeks. Okay, it's not going to happen today. Now, I think as a theorist, what I'm going to be looking for today is that the beams get all the way around without bumping into anything along the way. And that, I think, is already a very important first step in getting the camel to start standing up. But to actually get collisions at high energies, beyond those that have been produced by any previous accelerator, it'll take a few weeks. Initially, when the collisions start, there won't be so very many of them, and then the collision rate will gradually increase over a period of time. Quite frankly, we're not expecting a tremendous number of collisions this year, but next year we're expecting to get enough collisions to do some real serious physics. But already this year, one is going to get probably some glimpses of things that people have never seen before with lower energy accelerators. Jets of particles coming out with much higher energies. Now, that sort of thing is very important for checking the standard model, checking that we understand the standard model, checking that we can really calculate what we would term the background to the interesting physics. What we hope then is maybe next year that we're going to be getting into the real serious searches for the new physics that we're expecting, like the Higgs boson, like dark matter, for example. But in order to be sure that some real new physics is emerging, first of all, we have to check that the standard model physics is what we expected. For me, I think it's the most exciting day of my career as a physicist. I've seen a lot of accelerators come and go. I've seen quite a number of discoveries made. The thing about the LHC is it's really taking us somewhere where no accelerator has ever been before. And we've really got good ideas that there must be something new there, which is going to answer some of our fundamental problems. Where do particle masses come from? Is it a Higgs boson or something different? What is the dark matter? Supersymmetric particles, are there extra dimensions? So these are all burning questions that we've had churning around inside our minds for the last decade or 2 decades or 3 decades in some cases. And finally, we're going to get the answers. And the really exciting thing is, okay, we're going to get the answers, but we don't know what the answers will be.